Hello, everybody. Welcome back to College of Lore. I am Cass.
I am the Penitent.
So great news, guys. If you couldn't tell from the title, we are starting a new Wednesday segment. If you didn't watch our channel update video, we talk about it a little in there. We actually didn't know what we were doing when we recorded the channel update video. We do know now. So before we actually start, we're just going to dive into that a little. So what this is going to be is basically just us talking about some of the homebrew that we've worked on. The first episode is gonna be something that all of you have probably heard us talk about on the channel a lot before, which is the Demigod homebrew race that we've come up with.
Yeah, we're starting a new series where we look at homebrew, kind of pitch our own homebrew.
Yes, we may talk about other homebrew at some points, some stuff we like. We're gonna start with ours. We're gonna keep developing more. We will probably take suggestions and maybe even talk about fan homebrew, follower homebrew.
Yeah, if you have homebrew that you've written, send it to us and we'll take a look at it. We'll even score it for you.
Yeah, we will. We'll give it out of 10.
Obviously, I don't work for Wizards.
No. Neither of us work for Wizards, but it would be super cool if we did. Hire us.
I've never designed a game.
No.
And a lot of these are, when we test them, we find they're stupid powerful, they're stupid...
Not powerful.
Not powerful.
There's a lot of balancing that goes into it. The one we're going to talk about today, we've talked about this in a couple of other videos on the channel, especially the Overpowered Characters Academy video, which is a great watch if you haven't watched it yet. The point of a demigod is that it's a little busted.
Yes.
So, kind of going into this, there should be an expectation that this is a little more powerful than most of what you're going to see. And it's not the kind of thing you should allow at a table if people are going to abuse it, which we talk about that in several other places on this channel. But the point of this race is that it's a little bit broken.
Yes, I realize.
So don't blame us for that.
There is something that I need to actually properly write in.
Which is?
It's going to be seen in the screenshot that people can see when they look at this.
Yes.
But I'm writing it in now, which is ability I forgot to add in.
What did you forget to add?
The thing we talk about literally all the time.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess it's not actually in the thing, is it? So, I'll just kind of start going over what we're gonna be looking at now at a base level.
So the point is to say about what I don't work for Wizards.
Yes, right.
This will not be perfect.
No, it will not be perfect. It is... We playtest it at home. We playtest it often just the two of us, with one or the other of us playing multiple characters.
Like in our actual play?
Yes, just like in our actual play.
Check it out.
Check it out. We playtest this at home. We playtest this in a way that fits with our playstyle. So things that could potentially be abused, we don't always write out, because all of this was initially written for us. We'll probably fine-tune it before we put more stuff on the channel. But all of this is stuff we made largely for our own use and our own fun, and now we're going to tweak it a little and share it with you guys.
It is also 100% not phrased correctly.
No.
100% of the time.
No.
It was written for my own reference, and
Yes.
I wrote it what the easiest way for me to understand it was.
Yes.
So it does not follow the format for a Wizards official release. If I ever do release a PDF document of more refined stuff, it will...
It will be formatted.
Yes.
And it's not that bad. It's understandable. But it isn't formatted directly like every release that Wizards has ever done. So, while you're finishing typing that up, I'm gonna just kind of get into a little bit of the point of a demigod, which... I mean, to boil it down, a demigod is a half-god. A being that is mortal more than a god is, often has a godly parent and a mortal parent. Sometimes, like in the case of Ruby in our actual play, has a kind of a special circumstance where gods can offshoot power during conflict, or can, in theory, choose to create a demigod on their own as kind of an offshoot of their power. But what it boils down to is a demigod is someone who would normally be mortal who has been blessed with a significant amount of divine power beyond just being angelic like an Aasimar or even an angel. This is someone who walks among mortals to whatever degree they choose and their godly heritage chooses. And they have direct power granted to them, either through birthright or through blessing by a god.
Yes.
We're going to talk about a few of the subraces in here. The subraces for demigods are the godly domains that a cleric can choose from. We don't actually have all of them written. We've written the ones that we used so far as characters. If we ever release this publicly, it will obviously have all of the subraces in it.
If you would like this, check out our Patreon as a full release.
Yeah. Eventually, if we get enough people on the Patreon, we may release this eventually.
I will, if we get enough Patreon support, if we do this full time, we'll actually see if we can launch some sort of like Kickstarter type thing to get a proper book out there.
Yeah, we would absolutely love to do
obviously not official Wizards of the Coast, but I'll talk to Wizards about what needs to be done to...
Yes.
Because I know stuff like Grim Hollow, check that out by the way, it's great. Other stuff like that exists that isn't necessarily licensed by Wizards, but is an offshoot of it.
It's in the same vein.
Yeah. Stuff on the DM's Guild. I'll see what needs to be done about it.
Yes. So yeah, from there, demigods are... I mean, I told you what they are. If you haven't already heard us talk about demigods, I don't know how many videos of ours you've watched, but probably not very many because we bring it up like every other video.
Yeah.
Go watch the rest of our videos because we've talked about this before.
And it may seem a bit overpowered. That's partially the point. You should only really use this with a player you trust.
Yes.
A lot of these are intent on balance. This one is not.
Yeah. Most of the stuff that you write, I don't really write much of this. I just kind of playtest it most of the time. Most of the stuff that the Penitent writes is written for fun, but written with fair gameplay in mind to a pretty solid degree. This is not. This is written for fun.
It's written with roleplay in mind.
Yes. This is not written as a thing that you should use in a min-max dungeon crawl game.
Yes.
That's not the point of this. If you were going to use a demigod as a min-max character, you would be broken. You would be so overpowered. Your DM would have to set a ton of limits. Those limits are not inherent to what we have written. They are inherent to our playstyle, and so if you trust a player to use them appropriately, and trust yourself as a DM to manage them appropriately, and vice versa if you're a player, go for it. You feel free to use any of this at any point in your home games. Tell us how it goes.
With DM approval.
With DM approval, yes. But this one's not meant to be balanced.
Yes, a lot of my stuff is designed with roleplay in mind.
Yes.
This most especially.
This is the big one for that. The rest of the stuff that's in our little homebrew document, a lot of it is largely balanced, but hasn't all been playtested to an insane degree. This has been playtested and has been intentionally made to be really good, and we have not had to change much because of the way we play this character.
If you have any tweaks you would make, do let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we'll listen to the fans.
Yeah.
But to just kind of go into it, to break it down now, all of you are going to see the traits on the screen. I'll just run them down really quickly.
Remember to take a new screenshot of the one
Yes, I will. So, ability score increase. Every race gets those. In 1D&D, that's a little different.
But this is written for 5e.
Yes, this was written for 5e. This was written way before 1D&D was announced.
Yes, so the ability score increase, any ability score of your choice gets increased by 2.
Yep.
The reason I went with that is because... God.
Yeah. If you are a demigod, if you have that much power, and especially because one of the things that demigods can do is shift form on a relatively frequent basis, kind of like a changeling, in some degree, it makes sense that they would choose whatever makes sense to put their main form in. Whatever they're vibing with as their goal. So if you're having a fighter or a barbarian demigod, if you have a demigod that falls in line with that kind of path, you would probably put strength or constitution as their ability score increase.
Yes.
And especially because this is so based on domain, a lot of the domains will have different ability score increases that make sense for them, and the subraces give specific bonuses because of that. But at a base level, you have enough power to dictate how your path should go.
Yes. Age.
I feel like that was long-winded, sorry.
No, not at all. Age.
Yeah.
Demigods are immortal, functionally.
Yes, functionally immortal. Especially because eventually they're designed to someday ascend to godhood.
Yes.
They can sort of be killed. What we've ruled is basically they can be killed, but unless their soul is somehow directly destroyed, which is very difficult to do, they will reincarnate.
Or they're killed in their true form.
Yes. Either of those things, but they don't spend much time in true forms.
Yes, most true forms can't even exist on the material plane for very long.
Yes. And they would, kill anyone who was near them.
Yes, so. But demigods do mature at the same rate as humans, up to a point.
Yeah. So they slow down at, mid-20s, usually. And you can choose to appear older if you want to match that.
There's some gods. Lathander has been, 50s, 60s in a lot of our portrayals.
Yes.
Someone like Azuth appears elderly.
Yes. And then there are plenty of gods that appear as young adults.
Yeah.
So yes, they mature at largely the same rate as humans. They can basically cut that off whenever they decide to. Alignment...
Sidebar, I think alignment basis for, races is dumb.
Yes, it's kind of dumb. It's kind of super dumb.
So they tend to have the same alignment as their parent.
Yes.
But that is not true if that's not what you want your character to be.
Yes. That's a tend toward because they're usually so connected to their godly parents, and they'll follow in their footsteps. If you are playing a demigod and their whole thing is, I don't want to be like my mom or dad, they're not going to have the same alignment as their godly parent. So, if you're building a character that's demigod, and we do this all the time, feel free to rebel against that. That is not a standard. That is what most people would expect of a demigod. It doesn't have to be true of yours or anyone's.
Yeah, I've actually played a character before that is... I'm checking their godly parents' alignment real quick.
Yeah. Are we talking about Cirque?
Yes.
Yep. We will tell you about the number one demigod character, the first one. Was that the first one we ever played?
No, I think we put something... So, yeah.
Yeah.
Talos is, full chaotic evil.
Yes.
She is definitely chaotic, but, chaotic good.
Yeah, she's totally on the opposite end of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, alignment is kind of... I think punishing for alignment is bad. I think having to stick 100% to an alignment is bad, because that's not how real people work. And if you want a genuine character, that's not how you should play. But demigods can have whatever alignment they want to, depending on their personality.
Yes.
It's just, most people would expect them to align with their parents.
Yeah, size.
Yep. So, demigod forms, like we talked about a little bit, and we'll talk about it a little more, their true forms can shift, they can change their forms, which kind of means they can set their own height and size. Generally, if a demigod is walking amongst normal mortals, they're going to set themselves as something that makes sense to blend in with mortals, so they usually tend toward medium.
Be a goblin, a halfling, a Goliath, but by and large.
But usually they're going to be on the basic humanoid side of things.
Base walking speed, as most things, is 30.
Yep. They don't get to be special. They don't get to power walk any better than anybody else.
And let's get into abilities.
Alright, yeah. So, mortal form. That's kind of the big thing. That's the shapeshifting.
Yes.
You can take a... Usually demigods take a main mortal form.
Yes.
Which is exactly what it sounds like. It's one race appearance, basic humanoid traits, or whatever. You don't have to be humanoid, I guess, but whatever traits you would keep as a majority of the time. Some demigods shift that relatively frequently. It's easier to handle if they don't. And again, this is done with roleplay in mind, so we don't usually do that frequently. We do it whenever it makes sense to do it narratively. This is also something you as a DM can strip from a character to have some narrative impact.
Yes.
But when you make a demigod character, you can give yourself the basic traits of whatever race you've chosen your mortal form to be.
Something like, dark vision or various things like that.
Even like a breath weapon if you were doing like a dragonborn or something.
What you cannot do is change to their racial modifiers.
Yes.
But you get +2 to anything.
Yeah. You can change the racial modifiers, and if you shift out of that form into a different form, you adopt that form's natural traits.
Yes.
You don't get to stock them up. And even if you have them for a long time in your mortal form, a different form is going to work differently.
And for the record, for the most part, because roleplay oriented, you'd only really be a dragonborn if you were a god of dragons or something similar. You know, I don't like your justification of... I appear as a drow because dark vision is helpful.
Yeah.
With Cirque, for example, she appears human.
Yep. Ruby except her hair is naturally blue.
Ruby in her actual play, she appears human.
With a couple tweaks.
With red eyes.
Yes.
They appear as variant humans. I've played, I think before, one of us has played briefly a demigod of a stone giant god who appeared as a stone giant.
Yeah. You can do whatever with that. Usually they have a base form.
Yes.
That they kind of stick to. And so, the other thing, and this is the other thing that we talk about all the time when we talk about demigods, is power from on high. Is what we've lovingly named this ability.
Yes.
When you attempt to use the power that your godly parent has bestowed on you, it's basically the equivalent of a miracle. This is where our based off divine intervention thing comes in, the, I think, 10th level cleric ability. And this is why the class is broken. Because the point of this is, you should not be using this for everything all the time. You should not try this at every possible opportunity. That is something that if you wanted to do that, your DM should be limiting it. And you as a DM should make sure people aren't abusing this.
Yeah.
You roll percentile. The DM can say, fundamentally, they can say, there is no way that your power is strong enough to do this, or there is no way that your parent would give you the power to do this.
In which case you shouldn't roll.
Yes. There is also, there will probably be times where it is so inherent to what that demigod could realistically do, like the demigod we were talking about who's the daughter of Talos, can fuck with the weather a little bit. You know, she could make it rain. She could gather some storm clouds in the sky, and that's like, if not a no-roll situation, at least it's like an easy 50-50, if not higher, on the percentile. So it doesn't have to be a 10 or lower for everything like it is with Divine Intervention. The DM should set those DCs based on the realistic chance that whatever power level that character is at would be able to pull that off. So, as said, you know, someone like Cirque, the storm demigod, trying to make a small storm appear overhead, that's fairly easy, especially because in her history she's done that a bunch of times. And through play, she's done that a bunch of times. But if she wanted to bring someone back from the dead, who had, you know, died in combat or been slain by an enemy or whatever, what have you, that would be a lot harder. That would be like a 10 DC at highest. It would probably be more like a 1 or a 2. Because she doesn't do that very often. Most demigods don't use their power for really intense stuff. If you wanted to make this harder, you could impose kind of like a lesser wish fail effect, where like you use this power, and if you use it for something really important, you take a drawback. You take kind of a recoil damage almost. Where your ability scores decrease, or you take levels of exhaustion or whatever, depending on... That's not in the writing, but you could do that. You can implement whatever you want to make this more or less functional. But the point of it is, you roll percentile, the DM sets a DC from 1 to 100, and you try your best and see how lucky you are to get what you want, or to get close to what you want.
Yeah.
This is something you can also feel free to give advantage on if they've done something, like has been done in the actual play before, to appeal directly to a parent, or to do something that is in line with their parents' views and actions, even if that goes counter to how they normally act, in order to get this help. Those are all really great narrative moments, and you can give advantage or inspiration or whatever for this sort of thing. It's a great thing to do. Giving people this opportunity, again, you shouldn't be rolling this on every single roll, and it would be kind of shitty to do so, but narrative beats. This is for narrative purposes in our build. Just a couple basic standard things. Deific background, you have proficiency in religion, and godly health, you have advantage on con saves.
Yeah.
That's the really basic stuff. And you can languages speak, read, and write Common and Celestial.
Yeah.
And subrace usually gives you at least one other language.
Yes. So that being said, let's look at some of the subraces.
Yeah, so we're not going to go over all of them because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 9 just on this, and there are way more out there that we haven't written yet. So the ones we're going to talk about are Beauty, Tempest, and Trickery, because those are some of the more fun ones that we've written. So we'll talk about them in alphabetical order. So Beauty gets to go on the screen now.
Yeah, so Charisma score increases by 1. I think that
makes sense. It's pretty obvious, pretty standard.
You gain proficiency in Persuasion. If you already have it, you gain Expertise in Persuasion.
Yep. If you already have Expertise in Persuasion, sucks to be you, down. You can 1d4 to an ability check. Any ally within 5 feet can do this, provided they stay within 5 feet of you, so it's not like they can run ahead and do something crazy and add it. They can use this ability once an hour. Which is maybe a little high. We haven't super playtested this one, but also it's meant to be good.
It might be once per long rest, but it's 5 feet.
It's 5 feet and it's only a d4.
Yeah.
You stretch this however you feel is necessary based on your playstyle. This would work well in our playstyle.
I've gone back and forth with long rest in an hour, but that being said, I don't have more than one encounter in a day usually.
Yeah. I mean, you could do twice per long rest. You could do it based on proficiency bonus if you wanted to. Those are all options.
And then a thing that's very common is that you get spells at certain levels. So you know Guidance automatically. At 3rd level, you can cast Charm Person once.
Yep.
And at 5th level, you can cast Suggestion once.
Spellcasting ability Charisma.
Yes.
As you would expect.
You also gain Abyssal, Deep Speech, and
Infernal.
Infernal or Under.
Yeah, why did you put those on there? That seems like maybe the wrong ones. You probably copy-pasted those.
Yeah, I copy-pasted a mistake.
We read those off, it will have the correct ones on the screen. Whatever those will be.
It is one language of your choice.
Yes. Okay, it's just any language?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. I'm not cutting it out, though, because it's funny. And also, I'm lazy.
Yeah, sometimes when you're copying and pasting things, because
you just forget.
It's a language.
Yes. So any one language of your choice, which is what the screenshot will say, ignore everything we just said. We're having a silly.
I'm like, why the hell?
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I was like, that seems wrong to me, but who am I to decide?
Tempest Demigods. This is what Cirque is.
This is what Cirque is. This is the Cirque one.
Wisdom or Con score go up by 1.
Yep. Either of those makes sense.
Yes.
This one's one that we've had a little bit of fun with. As long as you are outside or in an area with open, unrestrained airflow, you have a fly speed of 45 feet.
45 is really fast. It is not faster than most creatures that are very high level, like a 60 foot.
And it is also only usable if you are outside and not in something like a dungeon.
Yes. Which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I think that's fun. Because it's supposed to be based on the wind, proper.
A lot of demigods do get the 3 spells. This is no different. You get Shocking Grasp at 1st level, Thunder Wave at 3rd level, and Misty Step at 5th level.
You get Wisdom as your spellcasting ability. A lot of them, not all of them, because it depends on what they get, a lot of them also get some kind of damage resistance.
Yes.
In this case, it is lightning damage. And language, you get Primordial, because, and then for Trickery Demigod, Charisma goes up by 1. Again, kind of a standard expectation.
Silver Tongue. Whenever you make a Charisma Deception check, the creature you're attempting to lie to must make a Charisma saving throw or become charmed by you.
Yep. DC is 8 plus proficiency plus Charisma bond.
Sorry.
Is that wrong?
It's not wrong, but...
Oh, become charmed by you for a limited amount.
For 1 hour.
For an hour. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Not permanently charmed by you.
That would be a little silly. Yeah, that will also be in the proper screenshot.
And then you gain... Minor Illusion.
Minor Illusion.
Disguise Self, and Mirror Image. Charisma is your spellcasting ability.
Yep. And you have resistance to psychic damage, which you will probably sort of metaphorically be dealing to a bunch of other people.
And you can speak, read, or write Infernal.
Which is very fun.
I think the Trickery, the kind of devilish little bit in there for the psychic damage, and
So yeah, you can kind of see there's a theme with this stuff. All of the other ones that we've done have a similar theme. Again, we'd be happy to release this if you pay us to do it.
With these, I go, like, ability score, the Demigod one specifically.
Yes.
A unique ability, the spells, and a protection. I'd like to.
Yes. And not all of them do that, but most of them do that.
Yes.
Especially as we've kind of standardized this more going through with them.
But yeah, that's our Demigod. If you'd like us running over Homebrew, go for it. If you want to send us your own Homebrew to look at, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, this is going to be the new thing on the channel, at least for a little while. This is maybe a placeholder, maybe it'll be a permanent thing. It depends on how much interest you guys have in it and how many submissions we get. Because we can't write Homebrew once a week. That would be a lot.
If you would like us to build Homebrew for you,
yep,
let me know.
Pay us. We'll take commissions, is what I mean by that, but also pay us.
If you have requests, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah. Alright, so y'all better be enjoying this new series, because we scrapped something else for it.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, check us out on Patreon.
Love us forever, and we'll do the same for you.
Alright.
Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.